Have you ever noticed how the heaviest things we carry are not the things that have happened to us, but the things that never happened at all? What if the most exhausting weight in your life is the invisible burden of the chances you did not take? If you have ever felt stuck on the edge of a decision, exhausted by your own mind, trying to predict every possible disaster before taking a single step, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you see this hesitation forever. You stand before an open door, an opportunity, a relationship, a quiet dream you have carried for years. But instead of walking through, you freeze, you calculate, you analyze, you try to see the very end of the road before you even place your foot on the path. You tell yourself you are just being careful. You tell yourself you are protecting your peace, shielding your heart from inevitable disappointment. But here is the truth. Few people want to face. You are holding back. And holding back takes a tremendous amount of invisible energy. It is a quiet, hidden exhaustion. The mind spins in endless, heavy circles, demanding certainty in a world that can never promise it. Buddhist wisdom teaches that much of our daily suffering comes from our desperate need to control what is fundamentally uncontrollable. We cling tightly to the known, even when the known is uncomfortable or unfulfilling, because the unknown feels entirely too vast. Buddhism reminds us that the future does not exist anywhere except in the imagination. It is a phantom. When we try to grasp a phantom, our hands close around empty air, leaving us tired, anxious, and deeply unsatisfied. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast, deep ocean. You have built a small, beautiful boat. You know you are meant to sail. You feel the pull of the horizon in your chest. But you refuse to untie the heavy rope from the dock until you can guarantee that there will be no storms, no sudden waves, no dark clouds. So, you sit in the boat, tied securely to the wooden post, simply watching the water. The boat is safe, the rope is strong, but slowly, as the years pass, the wood of the boat begins to rot from disuse. The safety you so carefully constructed has silently become a prison. We do this in our own lives every single day. We wait to send the message. We hold back from accepting the job. We quiet our own voices. We delay starting the project that sits heavy in our hearts. We wait for the perfect moment. We wait until we feel entirely ready. We wait until we can predict the outcome with absolute perfection. But life does not offer guarantees. Life is motion. By trying to protect yourself from the possibility of failure or pain, you are actually closing yourself off from the experience of living. Ask yourself this: what is the heavy rope keeping your boat tied to the dock right now? What are you so afraid will happen if you simply let go and allow the current to move you? Is this intense need for certainty truly bringing you peace, or is it slowly draining the light from your days? Stop. Breathe. Observe the fear rising in your chest without letting it pull you under. Notice how it tries to pull you backward into the familiar safety of the known. You do not have to fight this fear. Just let it be there. Acknowledge it gently, but understand that this fear is not a brick wall. It is just a cloud drifting across the vast sky of your mind. You are not broken because you are hesitant. You are simply human, seeking solid ground in a world of constant, flowing motion. But true safety is not found in avoiding the journey. It is found in trusting your ability to navigate the waves. And to do that, we must first look closely at why the rope feels so incredibly necessary. We must understand the strange, exhausting comfort of trying to hold the ocean still. What if the harder you try to manage the future, the further peace moves away? Here is a truth that is difficult to sit with. The tight grip of control is not protecting you. It is exhausting you. We often mistake control for comfort. We believe that if we can just anticipate every possible outcome of a new opportunity, We can shield ourselves from failure. We map out every step. We replay potential conversations in our minds before they ever happen. We try to mold the unknown into a shape we can understand. But think about the heavy cost of this constant vigilance, holding back from a chance at a new life, a new connection, or a new path because you cannot guarantee the ending is deeply draining. You are spending all your energy standing at the edge, guarding the door, rather than walking through it. This kind of safety is an illusion. It is a quiet, desperate attempt to pause the natural flow of existence, and it leaves you feeling entirely depleted. You are running a marathon in your own mind without ever taking a physical step forward. In Buddhist thought, this struggle is understood through the lens of clinging. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that our suffering is directly tied to our attachment, our demand that life must go exactly as we have planned. We attach ourselves to a specific outcome, a specific vision of success, or a specific timeline. But life is inherently fluid. When we demand permanence from an impermanent world, we create our own misery. The illusion of control is the belief that if we worry enough, we can somehow change the nature of reality. Imagine holding a handful of dry sand. If you rest your hand openly, palm facing the sky, the sand stays exactly where it is. It is held gently. But the moment you panic, the moment you try to secure the sand by clenching your fist as tightly as you can, the grains immediately begin to slip through the cracks of your fingers. The harder you squeeze, the more you lose. Eventually, your hand is entirely empty, and your muscles are left aching from the sheer force of your own grip. This is what we do when we refuse to step into the unknown. We clench our fists around our current lives, afraid to reach for the opportunity because it might not work out. We try to force people, careers, and timing into perfectly predictable boxes. We stay silent in rooms where we should speak. We abandon creative ideas before they bloom, and we push away deep connections, all because we cannot stand the idea of an unwritten ending. We choose the exhaustion of holding on over the freedom of opening our hands. Think about your own life right now. What are you clutching so tightly that your spirit is aching? Ask yourself, is this intense need to manage every detail actually keeping you safe, or is it just keeping you stuck? What are you afraid will happen if you let the sand rest in an open palm? Pause, breathe, drop your shoulders, gently open your hands right now, wherever you are. Observe the physical sensation of letting go. Let the feeling of uncertainty rise without making it your identity. You do not have to have all the answers today. You do not need to control the wind to sail the boat. Because peace is not something you chase, it is something you make space for by releasing the need to orchestrate the universe. You can let the world turn without your permission, but letting go of control is only the first step. To truly step forward, we must look at what hides beneath that clenched fist. And this is where the next truth begins. Because beneath every reaction, beneath every attempt to control the outcome, is a fear waiting to be understood. 3. The fear of the unseen path. What if the darkness ahead of you is not hiding a cliff, but an open sky? Here is a truth we rarely admit to ourselves. We do not actually fear the future. We fear what we cannot see. Think about a time you held back from something that called to your soul. You stood at the threshold of a new chapter, perhaps a career change, a chance to share your honest feelings, or an opportunity to step into a bigger version of yourself. But instead of moving, you stared into the fog of the unwritten future. Because your eyes could not guarantee a safe arrival, your mind immediately filled the empty space with worst-case scenarios. You convinced yourself that staying still was wise, but staying still was just a reaction to the invisible. You chose the pain of stagnation over the mystery of possibility. In Buddhist thought, This deeply rooted panic is simply the mind doing what it has been conditioned to do. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the untrained mind is a restless storyteller. When it looks into the unknown and finds no solid facts to hold on to, it fabricates danger. It writes tragedies that have not happened. One of the profound lessons of mindfulness is learning to separate reality from the mind's anxious fiction. The path ahead is not inherently dangerous just because it is unlit. The suffering only begins when we believe the shadows our own minds have cast. Imagine standing at the edge of a dense, ancient forest as a heavy morning fog rolls in. You know your destination lies on the other side, but the fog is so thick you can only see a single step ahead. Your mind screams that there are hidden drop-offs just beyond your vision. It tells you that if you take a step, you will fall into the abyss. But as you gather your quiet strength and place one foot forward, the fog parts just enough to reveal the ground. It is solid earth. It is soft moss. You take another step, and again the ground meets you. You never needed a map of the entire forest. You only ever needed enough light for the very next step. We torture ourselves in modern life by demanding the entire map. We refuse to start the endeavor because we cannot predict the final outcome. We hold back our true selves because we cannot be certain we will be understood or accepted. We stay locked in unfulfilling routines and quiet despair because the familiar ache feels safer than the invisible journey. We let the ghosts of what might happen dictate what we are allowed to do today. Think about your own life right now. What beautiful opportunity have you abandoned simply because the path was covered in fog? Ask yourself, are you reacting to a real, present danger, or are you shrinking away from a ghost your own fear created? What if the unknown is not full of failure, but full of grace? Pause, breathe. Bring your full attention to this exact moment. Feel the ground beneath you. Let the anxious stories quiet down. You do not need to illuminate the entire journey today. Just stand where you are, do your part, then release the outcome. Let the fog be there without demanding that it clear, because true security is not found in seeing the end of the road. It is found in trusting the strength of your own feet in the dark. But to truly walk forward without fear, we must embrace the very nature of the ground we walk on. And this is where the next truth begins, because everything we try to hold still is already in motion. 4. The truth of impermanence. What if the very act of trying to keep things exactly as they are is what is breaking your heart? Here is a truth that is hard to hear, but entirely necessary. Nothing stays. We expend so much energy trying to freeze time. We hold back from stepping into a new opportunity because we want to preserve the fragile stability of today. We cling to old versions of ourselves, old relationships, or comfortable routines, even when they no longer fit. We mistakenly believe that if we just hold perfectly still and refuse to make a choice, life will stop shifting beneath our feet. We build walls to keep the wind of change out, not realizing those same walls are trapping us inside a life we have already outgrown. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises when we deny the fundamental nature of reality, impermanence. Everything is in a constant state of becoming and dissolving. The seasons turn, the body ages, emotions rise and fall, and circumstances inevitably shift. When we resist this natural motion, we suffer deeply. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that peace is not found in creating a permanent, unchanging sanctuary. Peace is found in learning to flow with the current of change rather than swimming desperately against it. Imagine a wide, powerful river flowing steadily toward the ocean. If you stand in the middle of the rushing water and try to hold the river back with your bare hands, you will eventually collapse from the sheer force of it. The water will always win. Your muscles will ache, and you will drown in your own resistance. But if you stop fighting, if you simply lift your feet and let the current carry you, the very same water that was breaking you down becomes the force that moves you forward. You do not need to fight the water. You only need to learn how to float. We stand in the rushing river of our lives every day, trying to stop the water. You see a new opportunity, a chance to move, a chance to start over, a chance to lead or to love. But to say yes to this new chapter, you have to say goodbye to the comfort of where you are right now. So, you hold back. You try to keep the river still. You panic when a career path suddenly alters. You see change as an enemy that has come to steal your safety, rather than a natural current pushing you toward your own evolution. You are exhausted because you are fighting the undeniable law of the universe. Ask yourself, what are you trying to freeze in time? Are you holding back from a beautiful opportunity simply because you are afraid to let the old version of your life dissolve? What if the change you are fighting is exactly what you need to finally breathe? Pause. Breathe. Feel the steady rhythm of your own heart. It beats, it rests, it beats again. Everything moves. Allow yourself to stop fighting the current for just one moment. Let the water flow without trying to direct it. Because life is not a museum meant to be perfectly preserved. It is a living forest meant to grow, change, and bloom again. But accepting that nothing stays is only part of the journey. To truly find quiet strength, we must learn what to do when we finally step into the current. And this is where the next truth begins. Because stepping forward means surrendering the very thing our minds crave most. 5. Releasing the outcome. What if your only responsibility is to plant the seed and not to force the sun to shine? Here is a truth that goes against everything modern society tells us. Your worth is not tied to the final result. We live in a world that demands guarantees. We are taught that if we exert effort, we must be handed a specific reward. If we reach for a new opportunity, we must succeed. If we open our hearts, we must be loved exactly as we wish. Because we demand these guarantees, we often choose to do nothing at all. We hold back from the brilliant opportunity standing right in front of us because we cannot bear the thought of trying and failing. We mistake the outcome for our own value. We refuse to take the step unless we can control where the foot lands. Buddhist wisdom teaches a profound release from this trap, non-attachment to the fruits of our labor. In Buddhist thought, we are responsible for our actions, our intentions, and our effort, but the final result is never entirely in our hands. The universe is a vast, complex web of causes and conditions far beyond our individual reach. When we attach our inner peace to a specific result, we set ourselves up for profound suffering. True freedom comes from doing the work with a pure heart, and then completely letting go of what happens next. Imagine a farmer standing in a quiet, open field. He carefully turns the dark soil. He plants the seeds with attention and deep care. He waters the ground. He has done exactly what he was supposed to do. But imagine if, instead of resting, he stands over the dirt all night, shouting at the seed to grow. Imagine him trying to physically pull the fragile sprout from the earth, or trying to drag the sun across the sky to make the light hit the ground perfectly. He would destroy the very thing he is trying to cultivate. The seed needs darkness. It needs time. It does not need his anxiety. We do this constantly in our careers, our art, and our relationships. We take a brave step. We send the message. We launch the project. We express our honest feelings. And then, instead of walking away, we stand over the dirt. We overanalyze every word we said. We let the waiting tear our minds apart. We try to force the door open, believing that if we just worry enough, we can manipulate the world into giving us a favorable answer. We forget that our part of the work is already finished. Ask yourself, What outcome are you desperately trying to force right now? Are you standing over the dirt in your own life, exhausting yourself by demanding that the seed grow on your exact timeline? What if you simply allowed it to be? Pause, breathe, feel the heavy weight of that expectation in your shoulders. Now, gently step back from the field. You have done your part. You have spoken your truth. You have planted the seed. Stop trying to force the door open. Let the earth do the rest. Because peace is not found in manipulating the world to give you what you want. It is found in resting in the knowledge that you showed up with courage. But walking away from the field requires an entirely different kind of endurance. And this is where the next truth begins. Because the hardest part of the journey is rarely the action itself. It is surviving the quiet, empty space that follows. 6. The space between action and result. What if the silence you are so afraid of is not a punishment, but a place of quiet shifting? Here is the truth about taking a risk. The action itself is rarely what breaks us. The true test is the waiting that follows. You finally took the step. You stopped holding back. You submitted the application. You spoke your honest truth, or you walked away from the familiar comfort of your old life. But immediately after, you fall into the void. You enter the heavy space between doing the brave thing and knowing the outcome. This is where the mind goes to war with itself. We refresh our screens. We replay the conversation over and over. We fill the quiet limbo with 1,000 loud anxieties, desperate to bridge the gap between action and answer. We think the silence means something is wrong. We think the lack of an immediate answer means we made a terrible mistake. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that this empty space, this waiting, is where true mindfulness is forged. It is not enough to be present only when we are busy or when life hands us immediate success. We must learn to be present in the stillness. In Buddhist thought, the pause is not a barren wasteland. It is a profound space for observing our own attachments. The intense discomfort we feel in the waiting room of life is simply the mind crying out for the control it just surrendered. We are challenged to just watch the mind spin without stepping into the center of the storm. Imagine a candle in a quiet, dark room. You strike the match, you light the wick, and you blow out the match. The candle is now burning. You do not need to hover closely over the wax, staring intensely at the flame to make sure it keeps burning. The heat is doing its invisible work. The light is filling the space. If you nervously wave your hands around it, trying to protect it or force it to burn brighter, you might accidentally extinguish it with your own frantic wind. The most powerful thing you can do is simply sit back and let the candle burn. Let the quiet in the room be just quiet, not an emergency. Think of how we wait in our modern lives. You send a terrifying, vulnerable message, and then you stare at your device as if your sheer willpower will force the screen to light up with a reply. We sit in waiting rooms of our own making, agonizing over every passing second. We believe that if we suffer enough while waiting, we are somehow preparing ourselves for a disappointment. We think our anxiety is a shield, but agonizing in the waiting room does not change the answer that is coming. It only destroys the hours you have been given right now. Ask yourself, are you torturing yourself in the quiet space? Are you treating the silence between your effort and the result as an enemy that must be fought with worry? What if the waiting is not a crisis, but a rare invitation to simply rest? Pause, breathe. Notice the desperate, frantic urge to check, to fix, to know. Let that feeling rise without making it your identity. You do not have to have the answer this very second. You are allowed to exist in the unresolved middle. Let the silence hold you. Because peace is not found in accelerating the hands of the clock. It is found in letting the present moment be exactly as unknown as it needs to be. But sitting in this silence requires something much deeper than just patience. And this is where the next truth begins. Because to survive the unresolved unknown, you must finally realize what holds you up when everything else falls away. 7. Trusting the depth of your own roots. What if the safety you are desperately searching for in the future is actually buried deep within you right now? Here is a truth we often forget when we are shaking at the edge of the unknown. We do not actually fear the failure itself. We fear that the failure will destroy us. Think about the exhaustion of trying to predict the outcome of a new opportunity. You calculate every risk. You build backup plans for your backup plans. You do this because you secretly believe that if things go wrong, you will not be able to handle the devastation. We constantly look for safety in the external world, in the predictable behavior of a partner, in the guaranteed stability of a job, in the flawless execution of a plan. We exhaust ourselves trying to build an indestructible house on the shifting sands of life, terrified that one wrong move will bring the whole structure down. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true refuge is never found in external conditions. As long as you rely on the unpredictable world to make you feel completely secure, you will always live at the mercy of the wind. In Buddhist thought, cultivating an inner refuge, a quiet, unshakable awareness of your own inherent capacity, is the only way to endure the inevitable storms of life. You are not meant to control the weather. You are meant to realize that you are strong enough to withstand it. Imagine a massive, ancient tree standing alone on a high ridge. When the dark clouds gather and the fierce winds begin to howl, the tree does not panic. It does not try to hold the wind back with its delicate leaves. It does not attempt to negotiate with the storm or demand that the sky remain perfectly blue. Why? Because its true survival does not depend on the fragile branches reaching into the sky. Its strength lies in the massive, invisible root system buried deep within the dark, silent earth. The wind will violently shake the leaves. It may even snap a few branches, but the tree remains anchored. It survives the storm, not by fighting the sky, but by trusting the ground beneath it. We forget our own roots when we face the storms of uncertainty. You see a chance to change your life, but you hesitate because you might fail. You might step into a new role and feel inadequate. You might give your heart and face painful rejection. Because we are so fiercely focused on the fragile leaves our pride, our immediate success, our outward appearance, we panic at the first sign of a breeze. We think that if an opportunity does not work out, we will be entirely uprooted and washed away. We forget the quiet, invisible resilience we have spent a lifetime building. You have survived every single difficult day you have ever faced. Your roots are far deeper and stronger than you realize. Ask yourself, are you avoiding the wind because you have forgotten the depth of your own roots? Are you holding back from this beautiful, terrifying new chapter because you think a single mistake will break you completely? What if you trusted your ability to heal just as much as you fear the possibility of getting hurt? Pause, breathe, feel your feet resting firmly on the floor. Think about the silent strength that has carried you this far. You do not need to guarantee a flawless outcome to take a brave step forward. You only need to trust that if you fall, you have the power to stand back up. Let the storm pass without becoming the storm, because true confidence is not walking into the unknown knowing you will succeed. It is walking into the unknown knowing you will be entirely okay, even if you fail. But realizing your own strength often brings up a quiet sorrow for all the times you were too afraid to use it. And this is where the next truth begins. Because to truly move forward, you must first make peace with the steps you did not take. 8. Forgiving the steps you did not take. What if the heaviest weight pulling you down is not the fear of tomorrow, but the deep regret of yesterday? Here is a truth that requires profound gentleness. You cannot heal if you are constantly punishing yourself for the moments you were too afraid to move. When we finally realize that our need for control has been exhausting us, a new kind of pain often arises. We look back. We see the open doors we walked away from. We remember the times we held our tongues, the chances we let slip through our fingers because we were paralyzed by the unknown. And instead of offering ourselves grace, we offer judgment. We call ourselves weak. We replay the missed opportunities and imagine how much better our lives would be right now if we had simply been a little braver. We drag the ghost of who we could have been into our present, and we let it cast a long, cold shadow over everything we do today. Buddhism teaches a beautiful, radical approach to this kind of suffering: deep, unconditional self-compassion. In Buddhist thought, every action we take, or fail to take, is the result of a vast web of causes and conditions. At that exact moment in your past, you were operating with the wisdom, the energy, and the fear you had available to you. You held back because you were trying to protect yourself. It was a misplaced act of survival. One of the deepest lessons of mindfulness is learning to look at your past pain without harsh judgment. To demand that your past self should have acted with the clarity you possess today is to demand the impossible. Imagine carrying a heavy, rusted iron key in your pocket. Years ago, you stood before a locked door. Behind it was an opportunity you deeply desired, but you were terrified of what might be on the other side, so you refused to turn the key. The moment passed. The door vanished, but instead of dropping the key, you kept it. Now, every single day, you reach into your pocket, grip that rusted metal tightly, and let its sharp edges cut into your hand to remind yourself of your failure. You are bleeding for a door that no longer exists, in a hallway you have long since left. The key cannot open anything in your present. It is only keeping your hands too full to grasp anything new. We do this with our own history constantly. We look at old paths we were too afraid to walk down. We track the success of the people who took the chances we turned away from. We look at the relationships we let fade because we were too scared to be entirely seen. We hold on to the rusted keys of our past hesitations, believing that if we punish ourselves enough, we will somehow learn to be brave. But guilt is not a foundation for quiet strength. Guilt is simply another form of clinging. Ask yourself, what rusted key are you still carrying with you? Are you using the memory of your past fear as a weapon against your heart right now? What would happen if you simply set the key down and walked away? Pause, breathe, place your hand gently over your chest. Feel the steady rhythm there. Speak softly to the past version of yourself. Acknowledge that you were scared. Acknowledge that you were doing the best you could to survive the uncertainty of life. Now, gently drop the key. Let the feeling of regret rise. Observe its sorrow, and then let it drift away like clouds across an open sky. Because true wisdom is not found in never holding back. It is found in learning to forgive yourself when you do. You cannot rewrite the chapters that have already been closed, but you do not have to let them ruin the rest of the story. And this is where the final truth begins. Because the only place you can ever truly step forward is the ground you are standing on right now. 9. Walking forward with quiet strength. What if the quiet strength you have been searching for begins the exact moment you finally stop trying to hold the world together? We began this journey standing in front of an open door, frozen by the heavy burden of trying to predict an unwritten future. We looked at the sheer exhaustion of clinging to the shore, terrified of the ocean's depth. But now, as we reach the end of this reflection, the door is still open. The ocean is still waiting. The only thing that has changed is how you choose to look at the unknown. The darkness ahead is no longer a void meant to swallow you. It is the wide, open canvas where your life is meant to happen. You have spent so much time believing that strength means having all the answers. You thought that if you were truly ready for a new opportunity, you would feel an overwhelming sense of certainty. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that certainty is a myth, and chasing it will only leave you tired. True, quiet strength does not look like a clenched fist holding tightly onto a perfectly designed plan. True strength looks like an open hand. It is the profound courage to say that you do not know how the story will end, but you are going to turn the page anyway. Think about the journey we have taken. You now understand that holding the sand too tightly only makes it slip away. You see that fighting the river will only pull you under, and that trying to force the seed to grow will only destroy the very thing you are trying to cultivate. You do not need to orchestrate the universe. You do not need to mentally live in tomorrow to protect yourself today. All of that exhausting vigilance was just an illusion of safety. You are already safe. You are anchored by the deep roots of your own resilience, forged by every storm you have already survived. You will still feel fear. The mind will still try to write tragedies when it looks into the morning fog. The heart will still flutter when you take a brave step into a new chapter. But you no longer have to let that fear dictate your life. You can let the fear rise, observe it gently, and then step forward anyway. You can stop guarding the door and finally walk through it, because the beauty of life is not found in the absolute guarantee of success. It is found in the simple, breathtaking motion of being alive, of experiencing the unpredictable waves, and trusting your own spirit to navigate them. Ask yourself one last time, what are you waiting for? The perfect moment will never arrive. The path will never be entirely illuminated, but you have enough light for the very next step. The heavy rope tying your beautiful boat to the dock is finally yours to untie. Pause. Breathe. Let the exhaustion of control fall from your shoulders. Sink into the quiet strength that has been waiting patiently beneath your anxiety. You do not have to carry the weight of unlived tomorrows anymore. You have suffered enough in the waiting room of your own mind. Do your part, then release the outcome. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. Let life meet you where you are.